Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel, and welcome back. I've had quite a nice little, kind of light international break. Been doing the England watch-alongs, a couple of prediction videos, etc. But we are now about to kick into the finishing straight here, the final yards of the championship season, and that obviously starts with the Easter weekend, which is going to be pretty crazy. So we're going into predictions today for round 39. Now, there will obviously be a prediction show on Sunday for round 40, which is on Monday. So remember, we're playing Friday and then we're playing Monday. And one of the most important things we need to consider here as well is that there's a lot of teams with players with international games literally tonight. I don't think there's any tomorrow, and then everyone plays again the next day. So this set of predictions might be featuring completely different lineups to the next set of predictions. So it's going to be an interesting time. We'll try and keep abreast of that. As ever, get involved in the comments, and you can really help me out by letting me know which players that your team has away on international duty, so we can kind of figure out, are there key players missing in some of these games? As ever, we will go through from top all the way down to bottom, and you can see ticking along there, we've got 12 fixtures we're going to have a look at, which vary between Friday, sort of the 3 p.m. kickoffs. We'll be here for the Super Stream. Then you can see we've got Barnsley-Reading at 5:30 on the Saturday. Then it's Birmingham and Swansea, isn't it, at 8? And then Brentford and Huddersfield go the very next day at 12:30. So it's going to be great. Easter weekend, always good fun. And we've got it all covered here. Hopefully I'm fresh from a break on the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Right, let's get into the predictions. Let me know that you can see me, hear me loudly, clearly. Make yourself known in the comments and get involved, especially as it pertains to players who are going to be missing because they've been away with their international teams. Before we go any further, let's give a big shout out to the Donovan brothers who sponsor our preview shows in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show, and sadly missed Michael, and a man of taste if he was an admirer of this show and a Millwall fan as well. Thank you to the Donovans. A quick look down at the ticker. Down there, you can subscribe via Patreon. Patreon Q&A tomorrow. Classics Review came out yesterday. We're going to be streamlining what's happening on Patreon on the normal channel next season very soon and making some announcements about that. Super Chat. Support the channel directly via Super Chat. First chat in any broadcast becomes the king of the bin and owns the sponsorship of the Fake News Sin Ban. And of course, if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, blah, 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 and you see a thumbs up, hit it, get involved, never miss a show. And most importantly, have your say and share your knowledge on these games that are about to appear, well, down there in the tick, and we will bring the round up, round 39, which is going to be history in just 2 days after, with round 40 coming up. The joys of the Easter weekend. There are the fixtures. Bournemouth Borough, big one straight away there. Bristol City Stoke, Cardiff Forest, Derby Luton, Millwall Rotherham, Preston Norwich, QPR Coventry, Watford Wednesday, Wycombe Blackburn, and then as well Barnsley Reading, Birmingham Swansea, Huddersfield Brentford. Couple of real key games as it pertains to 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, that little bit below the automatic race. We're gonna find out a fair bit there. Shall we just say hello in the comments to David and Liam and Chris, Norwich 2000, Sophie Ashton, Jack, Carl, George, Matthew, Mr. E, Russ, Hannah, recently new, welcome along. Ben, Iain, lots of stuff. Oh, yes, Lincoln. And yeah, we talk about COVID as well. We suspect Given what I saw out of my window yesterday, we might have some kind of spike coming in about 2 weeks. But there we go. Brilliant. Lots of names coming up here. I'll try and remember all of them in school. Classic. Tremendous. But please keep them back up if I've scanned over. I think we had the Norwich ones we're about to do there. Aarons, Campbell, Skip, Plachetta, McLean, Hanley, Janulis, and Pookie as well. Crikey. Let's have a look then. We start at the top. A very good place to start. That's kind of the Sound of Music, isn't it? With Preston versus Norwich. Get your predictions in. Give me either Preston, Norwich, or draw in this one. And of course, the massive elephant in the room is the international players that, well, I don't know whether they'll be crazy enough to risk any of them. I'm sure some of them will be back and around, but may well be not fit to play. There you go. Thanks, Russ. So quite a few we're expecting absent from Norwich, less so from Preston, but they're still going to be without. They've got some home nations players, Preston, as well, haven't they? Alan Brown, the captain, will definitely be missing, won't he? I'll have to put up a Preston team to have a think a little bit further than that. Norwich's glorious 9-game winning streak came to an end, but what a decisive 9-game winning streak it was. So the Canaries are 14 points ahead of Swansea. So as it stands, they're going to be promoted with 4 games to go, pretty much. There are, of course, 8 games to go, but we start getting the situation now where if, for example, Swansea didn't win, let's say Brentford did win and Norwich did win, then that gap goes up another point to 15, and then we're 1 game less, and Norwich could be there with 5 games to go. 4 is more likely, but we could be talking 3 games time. Norwich is sort of officially that distance ahead. Remember, we have got those games in hand for Swansea and Brentford. Preston fired Alex Neil, didn't they? And they have not played since, basically. So they have the losing streak. I don't know. My feelings on new manager bounces and the regression to the mean and all of those good sort of statistics. So it's a tricky one. On the surface of it, without all of those caveats with the international weekend, you would have Norwich going to Preston and winning, wouldn't you? But you just feel whether I'm not saying Preston will win, but you just have a feeling that they might get something out of it on the basis that Norwich will be weakened, particularly if Pookie and Aarons didn't play. I know they'd still have Buendia down that side. You wonder how that would weaken them. Although, they've been doing the job, whatever has been happening since. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat on this. There we go. The Declan Rudd derby. Absolutely. Russ is confident as ever, setting himself up to not be disappointed as ever. He says Norwich are going to lose. There we go. Draw. Norwich. Still plenty, think, even without those players. A couple of draws in there. But in the main, we're behind Norwich in the chat here. Kind of a nothing game for both teams. Are we on the beach yet? I suppose there's still 100 points to play for Norwich as well. Nicky Butt, favourite for the Preston job. Interesting. Draw. Preston 1 home win in 2021. New manager closely tied to the old regime. Preston were the last side to beat Norwich in 1890. Yes, they were, weren't they? It's a bit of a weird game, though. And that was no Buendia, isn't it? It's so stupid. Preston have declined. Sounds like the most sensible possible thing they could have done. Norwich 2000. Put yourself in their position. Look, I'll go moderate on this one then. Draw. Let's assume that Norwich being without a few international players takes a little bit of an edge off there. Right, let's move on to Watford versus Sheffield Wednesday. Now, I think Ben did it already. Can someone put the Watford players who are going to be missing in the chat for us, please? Just as a bit of a reminder. So it's Watford versus Wednesday. We can talk about form. Form is all contextual. If you look at Sheffield Wednesday, they've got 4 points in 2 games, which in a relegation chase is great, isn't it? However, Watford, if I'm remembering my pre-international break numbers, have 9 wins in 10, don't they? And you can see a 5-game winning streak. And once again, we get to test out this Watford home record, which is so good it's not true. Look at that, 47 points at home for Watford this season. Could be in record-breaking territory if they pick up wins in, I think, all bar one of their remaining games there. Again, hopefully someone's put it in the chat. There will be Watford players missing. It just depends who they are. I suppose in terms of a new manager and Darren Moore being able to do a bit of work, he's had a bit of time. And obviously, I assume Wednesday will have a couple of international players as well. But, and I'm guessing here, less than Watford. We'll see if they've popped up in the chat. There you go. Thank you, Ben. Get your predictions in, by the way. Watford, draw, or Wednesday. So Sema, Gray, Cathcart, Messina. That could be worse, couldn't it? If that was Firmino, Sarr, Chalobah, and one of the centre halves. I suppose Cathcart is one of the centre halves, but that could be a lot worse. I suppose the left-hand side there with Messina and Sema is going to get broken up. Although, Ben, I'd be interested in any other Watford fans in here. I like the look of Hungbo. He looks like he might be worth a start sooner or later. Let's have a look in the chat. What are you guys saying here? Home, 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 home. Playing the Joker. There we go. What else have we got? Yeah, not Preston's fault. Yeah, exactly. Oh, the talkative thing, whose name I won't mention, is talking to me again. Watford, home, Watford, home, Watford, Watford. Oh, a Sarr injury doubt. Well, that would make a difference, and especially with 2 games. There we go. Plenty of derbies in there. I think we'll go Fernando Forestieri, won't we? Wednesday improving. Watford have squad to cover absences. There you go. Watford. There's one in for Wednesday there. Titch. Go on. Watford, Wednesday. Another one for Wednesday there. Lazar is good defensively. Yeah, he was the guy that came in over Christmas. Watford really. Yeah, every time I've seen Hungbo, he looks good. Obviously, he's been slipped in. I was going to say slipped in gently there, but maybe a slightly awkward turn of phrase for this time of day. Go on then. Let's go with that record. Home. Watford to win at home and beat Sheffield Wednesday, which, depending on what you think happens in the next fixture, could really... and as neutrals, sorry, Watford, Norwich fans, etc. with this, as neutrals, we kind of don't want that gap to grow and grow and grow. But we know what the Easter weekend can be. Remember Leeds and Sheffield United a few seasons ago. Sheffield United win both of their games. Leeds lose both of theirs. 6-point swing. Bosh. Bosh, bosh, bosh. That was nearly the Eye of the Tiger rhythm there, wasn't it? Right, predictions, please. Birmingham City versus Swansea City. Big game. Big game, this one. Birmingham at home. It's the 8 p.m. kickoff on Saturday night. We're going to take the Super Stream as far as we can. I may have run out of gas there, not being able to do an 8-hour Super Stream or whatever it'll take. So I'll probably tap out after Barnsley and Reading on Friday. Sorry, the Good Friday Super Stream, not the Saturday Super Stream. But this is interesting. Really, really interesting setup, this one, because you've got Birmingham and Bowyer and, you know, their predicament and the time that Bowyer will now have had with the players to maybe, you know, sort of simplify what they were doing and implement what he wants to do. And then you've got the Swansea slip of 2 straight defeats playing into this. And can Cooper turn that plane around and get the motor in again? It felt like Swansea needed the break, didn't he? So very, very interesting one. Obviously, we need to mention how dreadful Birmingham's home record is. Worst in the league. But look, worst in the league with 6 points in the last 3 games. If Bowyer can turn that home record round, and I mean, was the first win his? I don't think it was. Was it? Let me just double check. No. So the one of the other wins would have been Karanka, wouldn't it? It would have been against QPR. But if he can get anywhere above, even around 1.5 points per game at home, that might be enough if they ride out the away form as they have been. However, we have the complete wild card that is Rotherham. God knows, Rotherham could shoot up the table and win lots of games in hand or stay exactly where they are. Complete unknown there. Anyway, get your predictions in. Birmingham, draw, or Swansea in this one. Tricky one to call. Can Swansea come back stronger than they were? Also, any international players? I know Connor Roberts got red carded the other night, didn't they? Any Swans players? George is asking exactly the same question as me there. Any Swans players on international duty not going to be back? There you go, Mike. We do want that gap to grow. Of course, as a Watford or Norwich fan, you want that gap to grow. I'm sitting here wanting carnage. I want it to go to the last day, of course. I don't think it will, but there we go. Birmingham, says Iain. My hope is lost for the Swans. Blues to get a point here. Draw. Interesting. Very interesting. Jack's behind Birmingham with his Birmingham badge in his profile there. Draw, Swans, home. Swans dropping like a stone. Draw, Birmingham playing well. Interesting. Swans. There we go. Swans. It's coming back around. Chris is predicting a Birmingham home win. There we go. Blues, Birmingham. Elliot's in the garage. What are you doing in the garage, buddy? When are you booking me for your wedding anyway? The Kemi Augustine derby. That's niche, John. Sanchez unlikely to be fit. Hogan should make all available. Yeah. Anyone know on Swans missing players for this one? Draw, Swans, Bella and Terrell could be back. Good news. No, Ayew. Interesting. Swans, Blues, Swans. Oh, God. This is a difficult one to call, but because I'm feeling cantankerous and troll-like, here comes the Joker. Here it comes, everybody. Home. I'm playing it. I've played the Joker. Let's go. Birmingham to beat Swansea. And look, Brentford did exactly this. They did 3 straight defeats before they bounced. Obviously, there was no international break in the way, but I'm playing my Joker early today. And let's go for Birmingham to beat Swansea. My goodness. Before anyone can react to that, we will quickly move on. And we're going to, on my pad, it says Sunday. I hope I haven't written that in the banner. No, I haven't. Good, because it's on Saturday. Huddersfield versus Brentford. Get your predictions in. Huddersfield versus Brentford. I just need Huddersfield, draw, or Brentford for this one. Now, Huddersfield are improving, aren't they? Is there a sense that Huddersfield bottomed out already and they had the worst run that they were going to have and they will now claw towards that high 40s, maybe get above 50 between now and the end of the season? Look at the last games. 6 points in the last 4. That'll do. That'll absolutely do. Extrapolate that over the last games. 1.5 per game. And they are well clear and into the 50s, aren't they, Huddersfield? And we know as well, because we did the Cardiff game as a watch-along for Huddersfield, they could have won one of those other games as well there, couldn't they? So you've got Huddersfield on a slightly shallow incline. You've got Brentford on a little decline with 2 straight draws. And, of course, Watford have bunged in 6 points in that time. Drew at Derby. They were 2-0 up. And then they drew against Forest at home. So 4-point gap opened up in those 2 games for Watford, and 7 in total. So what do you say about Brentford? Are they now trying to charge in from a little bit further back? Are they a bit more relaxed? I don't know. The normal thing we would do here is go to the chat. Let's just do the home and away check. Huddersfield at home, only 1 defeat in that last 5. 10th best home team in the division, performing all right at home. Brentford away from home, 4 points in the last 2. There was a losing streak before that. They are, however, Norwich are a mile away from everybody else, but Brentford are the 3rd best away team in the league in terms of points accumulated thus far. Tricky business. What are you guys saying on this one? Let's have a look here. David, the desire for survival is greater than the desire for success. Stick that in my Patreon Q&A, David, or someone who's a Patreon. Stick that in for David. I would like to talk about that. Right, here we go. Huddersfield, Brentford, draw. Brentford, draw. Brentford, draw. Brentford, draw. Brentford have had... some of the Danes would. Yeah, Jensen and Norgard. We haven't mentioned Brentford internationals out there. Brentford away, draw. Brentford away, draw. Brentford. Go on then. I think I'll go with the general sense in the chat, although there's contradicting views there. I'm going to go for Brentford away. Let's go for the Bees to pick up a victory in this one. But I do hear all your points about Brentford, slight decline, Huddersfield improvement, possibly bottomed out already, international players into the bargain. I do hear the arguments. I just have a hankering for Brentford in this one. Right, here's the one I'm excited about. What a matchup this is. Barnsley versus Reading. We are going to know a lot more after this game. Put your predictions in. Barnsley, draw, or Reading. This is a great matchup. A really, really good one for our first game back because you have 5th place against 6th place. Honestly, it's the perfect matchup for whoever wins. And it's the perfect matchup if you're Bournemouth or Cardiff because one of, or both, Barnsley and Reading will be dropping points in the first round. Now, we need to put into context the fact that Bournemouth are also playing Borough. So these fixtures work very well for Cardiff or for whoever wins, of course. We know that's the catch-all for this one. Get your predictions in. Barnsley, draw, or Reading. I was at the return game, one of the few behind closed doors games I've managed to get to, earlier in the season. Feels like miles, centuries ago, because Struber was still managing Barnsley at this point, and they were on a bit of a losing streak to start the season. Obviously, they've gone into kind of hyperspace since then and basically scored 2 points per game since Ishmael was in. Now, do we have a Reading slip? Yes, we do, across 3 games. 2 points off the last 3. However, they do still have a 3-point gap there over Bournemouth. This is just such a key game. I'm not making predictions here, but, well, I will in a minute. Play out the scenarios. A Barnsley win puts them 5 points clear of the team defending 6th position, even if Bournemouth win, in terms of their playoff spot with 7 games, to go. A Barnsley win puts them in a strong position where they, can really start planning for playoffs with competency for the rest of the season. A Reading win, and Reading would go above Barnsley. Barnsley would drop to 6th, and potentially the gap could close up. And the scenario that the Chasers want is the draw, as ever. Both teams drop points. Barnsley keep their gap. However, a Bournemouth win, Borough have obviously involvement in that game. They're a little bit further away. And things start to look a little bit interesting. again, internationals. Let me know internationals who are going to be featuring and possibly. I mean, we're going to get Hellick in the England game, we think, tonight playing for Poland. Anyway, I'm not sure about some of the Reading players, whether they're going to be coming back from international duty as well. Let's look at the homes and aways. Barnsley home form, well, a small slip over 2 games, but if you add up the 5 games, you got 10 points there. So 7th best home team in the division are Barnsley, but Reading are the 6th best away team in the division. This one's just beautifully poised, isn't it? And with that being said, let's get your views on it in the comments here. And I think we'll go with that one because it mentions Barnsley as the first one. So here we go. Tom says Barnsley. Lee says Reading. Draw. So yeah, DK as well has been. Where have the USA been playing, George? Do you know? Know how far he's got to come back. Barnsley kicked this around all ways and settled on a draw. There you go. 2-2. There you go, Mike. He's got theories about defending and attacking. Barnsley. Hopefully Hellick doesn't play for Poland tonight. Is this with our England hat on or with your Barnsley hat on, Daniel? Barnsley. Draw. A draw's not sitting on the fence, Liam. It could be the most sensible prediction you can make. Reading, Barnsley, Reading. Right, there's your injured. So Morrison, Yidam, McIntyre back training. Moore already back from internationals. Pushkas playing for Romania tonight. Semedo on the way back from Africa. So safe to say Pushkas and Semedo are not going to be playing. What else have we got here? Barnsley, draw, Barnsley. DK was only in Northern Ireland. Okay, good. Thank you guys for telling me that. Barnsley, draw. Is the ex-Leeds centre-back playing well for the Tigers? Are you talking about Halmer? Doesn't really get in the team, Bocker. And normally goes in defensive midfield at the end of games. Kane could be in for a hard night against Hellick, or vice versa. There you go. Right. So the question is, will the Reading slip, which has lasted 3 games, continue? Can Barnsley pick up after their first loss in forever? Don't accuse me of sitting on the fence, but let's do this. Draw. Let's go for carnage. Let's go for the draw and both teams to drop points and 7th, 8th to kind of come back into it a little bit closer. And that brings us nicely to our next match, which is Bournemouth versus Borough, 7th versus 9th. And if we do get a draw, and one of these teams, we get a decisive result in this game, one of these teams will be obviously 2 points closer to both Barnsley and Reading. Get your predictions in, please. Bournemouth, draw, or Borough. Bournemouth, draw, or Borough. Let me know what you think in terms of this one. Let's have a look on the split screen. The game is at Bournemouth, who did have a good performance last time out, didn't they? To beat Swansea 3-0 emphatically in the end. So we've said about Bournemouth all the way along, haven't we? Just put their figures out as well. £60 million loss for the last financial year. So that does put into stark focus the issues you have if you do not get back whilst you're still having those parachute payments coming in, and the issues of COVID and the issues of being in the Premier League and not necessarily having commercial incomes to match your broadcast income, which has been an issue for Bournemouth. Obviously, a lot of big names sold since then, which will balance out the books a little bit in the next financial year they have to declare anyway. So Bournemouth versus Borough. Borough, well, there's a couple of defeats in there. However, they do still have 9 points in those last 5 games, and they've got Warnock in the dugout, but it does feel like a 6-point gap with 8 games to go. They would have to win pretty much. I think we worked it out, didn't we? 7 wins and a draw would take them to 78 points. It's tough. It's going to be a tough one. Let's look at the homes and aways. Bournemouth at home, bit spotty, but still 9 points in 5. You take it, wouldn't you? You take it. Borough away from home. Look at that, 3 defeats in the last 5. Those last 2 defeats were to Millwall and to Swansea in obviously particularly colourful circumstances. We remember Swansea and I can't remember who the referee was, but he had a fun afternoon, didn't he? Let's just say. Right, let's go to the comments. Give me Bournemouth draw or Borough. What are we saying here? Away, draw. Borough, draw. Home, which is Bournemouth. Borough, Bournemouth, draw. We're all over the place with this one. Bournemouth seem to struggle with the physical teams. Yeah, fair point. Bournemouth, Borough, Bournemouth. That's a good point. Bournemouth have goals in them. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Bournemouth. Warnock charge. Might need some academy players though for the next games. Some might die for the 3 points. That's tremendous. Darren Bond, I think it was, wasn't it? Hoping for a draw. Borough. What's my prediction? Oh God, what am I going to go for on this one? Go on then. Home. Let's agree with Gaza in the chat. Goals win games, and Bournemouth, particularly at home, Dan Juma, Solanke, might even get Brooks back in the team at some point. Stanislas do seem to have goals in there. Obviously, Lewis Cook in midfield out for the season as well. I'm trying to convince myself the other way now. Terrible. So let's go for Bournemouth in that one. And let's move on. Cardiff versus Forest. Remember, we played out the narrative that the fixtures are good for Cardiff on the basis that Barnsley play Reading, which is 5th versus 6th, and Bournemouth play Borough. So they're guaranteed teams around them have got to drop points. However, it's McCarthy versus Houghton, isn't it? They've got to get past Forest, which can be a bit of a grind. And fair dues to Forest. They did go to Brentford last time out and get a draw. Brentford are, well, they're higher in the league than Cardiff. They may not be harder to play against than Cardiff, but, well, yeah, therein lies a long discussion. Would you rather play Brentford moving the ball around or Cardiff, who are, can be a real stick in the mud to get moving against? And great win for Cardiff last time out at Swansea. It was typical Mick, wasn't it? Goal from a set play fairly early in the game. Sit in, get the win. Get your predictions here. Cardiff, draw, or Forest. Write the team's name in the chat so I know where we are with it. I think probably a few internationals for both going to be either coming back or not coming back. Let me know if you know who they are in the chat. Let's look at the homes and aways. Cardiff at home. Well, there's still still the stench a little bit of earlier in the season about them. They did obviously have the winning streak when McCarthy first came in, but in the past couple of games, only the 1 point for the Bluebirds at home. They lost that injury time to Watford and they drew 0-0 against Stoke. Maybe that's a bit of a barometer. Michael O'Neill, Chris Houghton, are they interchangeable, Forest and Stoke? Pass. Forest are coming out of their difficult run. Away from home, they are 19th best in the league. However, they do have 5 points in the last 4, which if you're down there in trouble and you're over a point per game away from home, is, not the worst thing in the world. They are 7 points above relegation. We're expecting a trend up from Forest soon. Whether it starts in this game or not, I don't know. McCarthy versus Houghton, everybody. Let me know. Oh, it's referee Ward, was it? Yeah. I knew it was one of those. Bond, Ward, Langford, Stroud, all our favourites. Here we go. Right. Cardiff, draw. Cardiff, draw. Cardiff, draw. The Ricardo Skimmick, 'er derby. I remember seeing him play for Villa. God, 20 years ago. 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 20 20 years ago, probably. Ages ago. There we go. Hardly anyone who pays for the game. Yeah, any shots. There you go. Cardiff, draw. Kiefer Moore scored against Mexico in the week. Good old Kiefer. Should be rewarded for watching the games. Rumours out of Peterborough. Blade Scouts have been watching Johnson Clark Harris. Nice. Last striker to come from Peterborough into the Championship did all right, didn't he? Away, Forest. Forest need to start picking up points. One win, we'll see. Yeah, they're close, aren't they, Ben? Wilson scored. Oh, Wilson scored a hell of a goal against Belgium for Wales, didn't he? What a goal that was. Love that goal. An away win in there for Forest. Look, I'm really sorry, but you know what I'm going to do if it's Houghton and McCarthy. Come on, you know what I'm doing here. Draw! It's got to be a draw between those two. They'll probably shake hands and not get on the bus if you promise them a draw now. Right, here they come. The wild cards. Let's talk Rotherham. Millwall versus Rotherham. Rotherham have the keys to the relegation battle in their hands, and they have a ton of games in hand. Can they get some wins? Let's have a look at the table. Get your predictions in, by the way. Millwall, draw, or Rotherham. Okay? So Rotherham essentially have 12 games to go, and a point per game from the remaining 12 would take them to 47, which would be above the 10-year average and is a decent total, 47. Can they get the point per game? Remember, with 12 games to go, if they go to 1.5 points per game, you are talking about 18 points. So decent form would see Rotherham way above the 50 points because they have 12 games to go. It's not that simple. You've got to score the points in the games. And we know there's that crazy 4-game week coming up where Rotherham are essentially going to have to throw a game against QPR, aren't they, to have some players to play Coventry 2 days later. Going to be incredible. This is the start of it all for Rotherham, and they've got 6 points in the last 3. But remember, game number 1 and game number 2 in those 3 were about 2 weeks apart, weren't they? So they've not played very often, Rotherham, in the past month. Are they rested or are they rusty? Millwall have stopped drawing. What's going on? So Millwall go on to 52 points, and they do have the potential, if they have a good finish, to get close to or even match, tricky to match, but the 8th place that they've done twice in the past 3 seasons. So they've gone from, ridiculous amounts of draws to all of a sudden win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. You know what you'd prefer as a fan. You'd rather see the wins and, absorb some defeats in there, and, you're moving on to 1.5 points per game rather than 1 or below, as it was for a couple of times. There is your Millwall home form. Decent, good actually. 10 points in the last 5. Across the season, it hasn't been good, but pick it up. And they are hard to beat at home, aren't they? Only 4 home defeats. Rotherham's away form. 3 wins in the last 5. 9 points in 5 away from home for the Millers. And they have just got to go for this now. If you're the Rotherham manager, Paul Vaughan, you know that you can lose some games in these 12 as long as you win some. You may as well just go for it, damn it. Really, okay, draws, fine. But you've got those 4 extra games than Birmingham have. So we will see. We will see how Rotherham play this, and we will see what you guys think in the chat here. The Tony Towner derby. That's niche, Chris. I'm struggling with that one. Right. Millwall, Rotherham. There you go. Ian's gone in with Tony Towner. John Seasman, one for the oldies. Draw hopes, Ian. Mill, Rotherham, Mill. Draw. Mill. Rotherham, draw. There you go. There's a friendly Yorkshireman there, Lee, behind the Millers. Welcome, Leeds 2020. Draw. Look, I know I've got loads of Millwall friends. I've got to apologise. I just want the carnage. You know me. Let's do it. Away! It would just be brilliant if Rotherham started with a win, just to put the cat amongst the pigeons. raise the tide down there. Can they do it? I should probably preface that as that's probably me playing my joker one more time there, because a lot of the logic says Millwall are not losing this game. But let's throw one in there anyway, just for fun. Hey, right, let's move on. Bristol City versus Stoke. Now, the most important thing, is this the first on the beach game of the season? Can we say that with 9 games to go? Have Bristol City and Stoke got nothing to play for already? Well, you tell me in the chat. Are we on the beach already with this game? The league table will tell us. We have, get your predictions in, by the way. Bristol City, draw, or Stoke. So we have Stoke, who are 10 points off the playoffs and 17 points off relegation. And we have Bristol City, who are 13 points off the playoffs and 14 points off relegation. So Bristol City may be right in that sweet spot of nowhere near either, essentially. But Nigel Pearson, he's now had the international break with them, going to be hoping to work on that hopeless home form for Bristol City. Shall we go straight to the home table? Because you will see a horrible, horrible losing streak. I mean, I suppose the good thing is that Bristol City, at least they win games at home, not many draws in there, but 10 home defeats. Only Birmingham have more home defeats than Bristol City in the table this season. So they've got that to play for, Bristol City. What about Stoke in terms of an away team? Rubbish. Look at that, 1 point in the last 5. So there we go. If we take the last 5 Bristol City home games, the last 5 Stoke away games, add them together, call them 10 games, 9 defeats and a draw between those two in these scenarios. Hopefully we get some beach ball here. Beach ball sometimes means loads of goals, doesn't it? If the intensity drops off. I don't know what the message is going to be. You let me know in the chat. What's the message going to be to the Bristol City players? Are we playing for contracts next season? Are we playing for that? Are we playing for that home form? Are we playing for top half for Stoke? What are we playing for? Top 10? It would take a hell of a... If Stoke were to win all of their remaining 8 games, they'd finish on 76. So even perfection is probably 76 get you in? Might get you in. But look, unlikely, isn't it, given they've only won 13 of 38. Are they going to win 8 for 8, really? Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat on this one. Here we go. Right. Stoke, 0-0. Stoke, sup. I'm good, man. Draw. All right, Ben. I'm good, man. Bristol City, so home. Draw. Bristol City, Stoke, 0-0. Draw. Away. Bristol City have lost 6 at home. Special kit. What's the special kit? Have they got a centenary one, or I don't know, whatever's going on there? Probably not even the centenary. No idea. Bristol City, draw, home. Beach ball, nice. Parasol and Sun Lounger to score in a draw. There we go. Beach ball. Will Pearson allow his team to go on? Well, he'll try not to. That's the challenge, isn't it? Josh, roll on August. 0-0. Personal pride, get running around. Absolutely. I have a strange feeling there'll be some ridiculous result. Last game of the season, Ben, it's great, isn't it? You know you're going to get 5-3 somewhere between 2 mid-table teams. Not sure which game. It's coming. Don't worry, it's coming. Bristol City. Go on then. I'll go with Amanda there and that last one. Home. Let's go with the narrative that Nigel Pearson will be able to get some kind of bounce back from this dreadful home form of Bristol City's. But it does feel like beach ball is the game. Right, 3 to go, guys. Stick with me. Loving this. Really, really enjoying this. Please hit like if you're in here as well. And if you're a Patreon, I know I can see a few in the chat, get a question in for the Q&A tomorrow. Right, QPR versus Coventry. This is most certainly not beach ball because Coventry need some points, don't they? Get your predictions in for this one. Either Rangers, draw, or Cov. Get your predictions in. The game is in Shepherd's Bush. There is the table. QPR are good. And I think if they'd won, it would have been something like 10 wins from 15. Am I right? Any Rangers fans? Correct me on that one. Drew against Reading. But basically, since Austin came and they returned to 3-5-2 and Johansson, sorry, not returned to 3-5-2, they went and started playing 3-5-2. They've been good, QPR, and they've reached the 50-point mark. They're safe. Can they solidify top half now? That's the challenge for QPR and Luton and Bristol City. Those three who are all within a point of each other there. Can you get into the top half and stay there? QPR are in there. Can they stay there? And speaking of can they stay there, Coventry, can they stay 2 points ahead of the point per game? If they do so, we know they finish with 48 points. Can they do it? 9 points from the last 9 games. 48, is that going to be enough? Will we have mental results like last season where did Charlton go down with 48 or did they have 47? I can't remember. Anyway, it was above the 10-year average of 45 to survive. Get your predictions in for this one. Let's look at the homes and aways. Here's the Rangers home form. Spotty, win, loss, win, loss, win. Coventry fans will hope that keeps going. That very basic algorithm I've just put out. And Coventry away from home are not good. They are not good at all. Only 2 wins this season, only 2 points from the last 5. Only Wycombe have fewer points accumulated away from home this season than Coventry. Let's have a look and see what you guys are saying in the chat. We're going to get to mention Roy Wegley again, which is always a pleasure on here. He always comes up on these QPR ones, don't we? Right, there we go. Iain, Rangers, Andy Impey played for Coventry, Simon. I never realised that. Rangers have not lost coming back from a break this season. Interesting. Cov, QPR, home, QPR, away. Players had a chance to regroup. Godden and Walker up top, hopefully. Great game against QPR earlier in the season. Rangers are safe. We'll all go for it. 2-1 away win. Good luck to you, Callum. He's called Coventry straight down the middle all season on the channel. Rangers win. They are good away. Beat Watford not so long ago. Beaten a lot of teams, haven't they? Cov beat them in the reverse fixture, says Nathan. However, we are terrible away. So no logic in saying 1-1. Doesn't need logic, hey? We're predicting the future. Is the future always logical? No. Rangers, home. Yeah, Rangers, QPR. Head says home, want and away. You Orns. There you go, Kev. Welcome. Draw. How long has this broadcast been on? 49 minutes there. It says in the top corner. Roy Wegley always reminds me of Panini stickers. What a player. Impey played 15 times for Cov. There you go, Simon. Lovely stuff. He played for Luton too, did he? Who's that? Wegley or Impey? Wegley we're talking, aren't we? Yeah, sure. Do I think Blues will stay up? We've already done Blues, haven't we? Ask me in 3 games' time. I'll check back my video. Sorry, Cov fans. Home. We are going to go with the recent form of QPR and the poor away form of Coventry for a lot of the season. I'm going to say home. And let's move it on to Derby versus Luton. Get your predictions in for this one. Derby, draw, or Luton. And let's all smile and think about Luton's away form, which I tweet about every time they win 1-0 away from home, because they've only scored 9 goals away from home and they have, I think, 7 wins or something ludicrous from those 9 goals. Get your predictions in. Can they do it again? Can they do it at Derby? Are things trending really badly downwards at Derby to the point where Rooney won't be able to come out of the trough and we get a bad run towards the end of the season for the Rams? Here's what the table looks like. So first of all, we say well done to Luton for getting 50. That's brilliant, considering their spend and they were in League One. 50 has got to be somewhat of a target. And now, can they go 9 games to go? How close can Luton get to 60 points? Brilliant work from them after being so close to that relegation line last season. Kudos to Luton and Barnsley, those ex-League One teams, doing great work in the Championship. Derby, it's not good, is it? And look at the goals for as well. 27 goals. You can see where the problem's been for Derby, other than the obvious Bielik. They get lots of points when he's in the team, and he's had 2 long-term injuries, and those points drop off when Christian Bielik is not around. And sadly for Derby, he is not around again at the moment. Poor bloke. He'd no doubt be, he's Polish, isn't he, Bielik? He'd no doubt be playing against England tonight if he was fit, and doing a mighty job of it, I'm sure, as well. Home form for Derby, it's quite good actually recently. What's that? 8 points in 5. No wins in 3, though. We need to read that stat whichever way you want. And across the season, obviously, does still have the stench of Koku's poor start over it. Remember, it picked up under Rooney and plateaued. Plateaued isn't the right word. It's dropped off, frankly, hasn't it? Because it's not sustained in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And here we go. Here comes the Luton away form. The brutal efficiency of Luton away from home. 9 goals and 23 points. It would only have been possible with that amount of goals to score 4 more points than that. If they'd won, every time they'd scored, they'd won 1-0. They would have 27 points. So Luton just freak-like away goals to points conversion, which has made us smile a few times this season. It won't make you smile if you're one of the home teams on the end of one of those efficient Luton away performances. What are you guys saying in the chat? Straight in there. The Steve Howard derby. He scored tons of goals for Luton, didn't he? Right. What are you guys saying in the chat? How are we on week 39? How are we on 2021 already? I know what you mean, Katie. And let's just let's say congratulations to all the Wigan fans. Takeover done. Great news. Titch says Luton. Luton generally get good results against the teams below them in the table. Yes, they do. Good point, actually. There you go. Another 1-0. Home. Luton 1-0. Everyone's behind this. Luton 1-0. Away. Wegley joined QP after a couple of... there you go. Great player he was. Any mention of Mick Harford. You got to love, haven't you? Luton. Derby can't be awful all the time. Home. 1-0 Luton. Draw. Are you mocking my voice here? Away. Collins, Morell and Sluga on international duty, but will all be available. I expect Sluga will start, Kate, and the other 2 won't. Or, I know you know more about Luton than me, but Luton. We talk about the England game in a minute because I'm covering that tonight. Poland got a couple of players out with COVID. Yes, they do. We talk about England in a minute. Go on then, because it would be a fun stat. Away, but it has to be 1-0. If it's not 1-0, we riot. Let's move on. Wickham versus Blackburn. This is our last one to talk about here. In the comments, please, Wickham, draw, or Blackburn. And not to be fatalistic about this, but how close are we to Wickham going? Well, let's play out the doomsday scenario, because I'm that kind of guy for the chair boys. If Wickham lose, they will be at 27 points from 39 games. If Birmingham were to win, they would be at 41 from 39. And of course, Rotherham would be able to accelerate that as well. So the gap would be 14 points with 9 to go. So it's quite similar to Norwich at the top there. You're looking at the 4th game. We're looking at game number 42 for possibly, both could happen on that round, possibly Norwich's promotion and Wickham's relegation. Anyway, plenty of water to go under the bridge. 4 points from the last 3 for Wickham. And it's a little trend up, isn't it? Maybe too little, too late. more than likely too little too late for Wycombe to get to mid-40s. Of course, with 8 games to go, you're looking at 8 teams. So you're looking at 6 wins, basically, from the last 8. Would get you to 45, wouldn't it? And we think Birmingham and Rotherham might take it past 45 this season, and it might be more like 48. We don't know. We're still guessing. Blackburn don't win very often, do they? Mowbray in a little bit of trouble, I think. A lot of people have said as much. Drew at Norwich last game. Drew at Bristol City. It was at home to Bristol City, wasn't it? So they're unbeaten in 2. And let's be honest, any draw at Norwich this season is a good result, especially when they're on a 9-game winning streak. Let's have a look at the homes and aways, and then we'll get your comments in, please. Wycombe, draw, or Blackburn. Wycombe's home form, as you can imagine, with them being rock bottom. They have the 22nd or the third fewest points, 22nd most points in terms of home form, 17. But they have got 6 in the last 4. Crumbs of comfort. Blackburn away from home, 6 wins, 4 points in 2. So decent enough in the last 2 games. What are you guys saying in the chat? Wycombe, draw. Blackburn, banker, says Ben. Wycombe, draw. Blackburn, Blackburn in Barbados. The beach is nice in Barbados, Iain. Or are they nicer in Rotherham? A man-made beach in the middle of Rotherham. There you go. Kind of landlocked, isn't it? Away, draw. Blackburn. We've done Rotherham, Neil. Draw. Laters. And we've done Brentford. Scroll back if you want to see what was said on those ones. Sorry, Wycombe. Away. Let's go for Rovers to start their maybe slight push towards mid-table with the remaining games to go. Right. Thank you all for watching. That was tremendous fun as ever as we come up to the hour mark. Let me tell you, brother, that I will be here at 7:30 tonight for Poland versus England. Tomorrow will be the Patreon-only Q&A. If you're a Patreon, please get a question in now over on Patreon. And if you're not, why not sign up for Patreon? It'll be the Dearly Departed preview tomorrow. And then here comes the mental weekend. We will be live from 2:50 on Friday for the Good Friday Super Stream. And we'll try and go as long as we can. That probably means I'll tap out at the end of Barnsley and Reading. Then on Saturday, early doors, 10 a.m., the review of those fixtures without the knowledge of what Huddersfield and Brentford have done. We'll be doing them live then at 12:20. So basically, there's not going to be very many hours between 2:50 on Friday and 2:50 on Saturday. I'm not going to be online or working. Going to have a rest then for the remainder of the day. We'll be back on Sunday in this slot at 1 p.m. with the preview for round 40. And then we will possibly be live for Villa Fulham, Dearly Departed derby, their big game. Then we'll be reviewing round 30 of the Dearly Departed early on Monday morning. That'll be a pre-record. And then it'll be the Easter Monday Super Stream at 12:20 on Monday. And then on Tuesday, if my eyes are still open, we're going to be here for the review at 1 p.m. Basically, we start on Friday at about close to 3 o'clock, and then we're not finishing until Tuesday in this slot again. It's going to be madness. It's going to be great. We'll do a couple of questions if we got anything in the chat. Let me know any questions you are asking. Not getting away, but the new Wigan owner's got a fancy desk. There you go. All bodes well. And we're going to be here tonight. Jack's looking for a nice 5-3 England win. That'd be fun, wouldn't it, in the watch along? Gillingham v Wigan first. Jump on board later. April's going to be a fun football month. Grimpsoft. Absolutely, isn't it? Yes, indeed. I am a busy bee, but I have had a rest. I have had a bit of a rest this past week or so. So I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Bring it on now, in the words of All Saints in the early 2000s or late 90s. Right. Prediction for England. Anybody? We'll get into that later. Hopefully England by 1, especially if Mr. Lewandowski is not playing. Great to have you back in the EFL universe. Great to have you back on board, Sophie. Awesome stuff. Used to be a nightclub with a beach in it in Rotherham. I've heard about this, Lee. Sounds absolutely tremendous. Right. We've gone over the hour. That is our show. Let's give another shout out to the Donovans. Thank you for their sponsorship this season. Loving memory of Michael of South East London, lifelong Millwall fan, admirer of this show. Thank you so much, guys. And have a think about getting involved over on Patreon. Super chat. Do it later in the England watch along, and also subscribe if you haven't already. We are closing in on 15th. I think got like 14,920 or something. We've got to get. Can we get there by the end of the Easter weekend? That would be tremendous to get to 15,000, wouldn't it? Right. Thank you, guys. Yes, I should be doing Norwich Huddersfield. It says I'm doing it on my board at 6:50. You don't have to support the team to watch a watch along. It's going to be great. 7:45 tonight for England. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And all that remains for me is to say thank you and over and out. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.